Hello, and welcome to our coverage of The Ultimatum Queer Love Season 2, episodes 7 through 10. We are here to wrap it up. And oh my gosh, if you guys heard me say in the last podcast that Haley and Megan were my favorite couple, you did not. I never said that.
Me either. I never said that.
We
I'm
can
gonna
always
pull.
take things back. It's fine.
I'm gonna pull a Megan and say I never said that.
Totally.
Deny.
We can just do that now.
Yeah.
I'm not alone, of course. I'm here with my lovely two co-hosts. First up, we have Dr. Evvie Jagoda. Evvie, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm recording this podcast from my parents' garage on top of some milk crates. So if you're wondering what's going on over here, that's the situation. But I had to do this podcast right now because I cannot wait to talk to you all about the juiciness of these last couple episodes. It was a ride. This season was a ride, as it always is. The Queer Ultimatum, it delivered. So I'm pumped.
And we also have Mary Kwiatkowski. Mary, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm recording this podcast from my parents' office. So
It's parents' night.
I know.
You're in the podcast.
And a crazy turn of events. My parent is here.
Oh.
I didn't have to record from my mom's house.
Like continuing parents' night for sure.
Right.
No.
It's parents' weekend.
While I was watching this batch of episodes, and of course, I'm sitting on the couch watching them, and my mom is doing something else sitting next to me. And every once in a while, she'd look over and she'd be like, "Man, I've only seen like 5 minutes over your shoulder, but I'm intrigued. I'll just start from the beginning."
Yes. I made the mistake of explaining to my parents what the show was about before when I went to go do this, and they did not like it. So,
oh my gosh, yes, there's so much to discuss. I did watch these episodes. I wanted to thoroughly enjoy them, so I just watched it through with my mom and my girlfriend, and then I went back and watched it again, which makes you even more upset at certain things when you have to watch it a second time, knowing how everything happens. But before we go any further, make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed, where you get all of our podcasts about The Ultimatum, Married at First Sight, Love is Blind, the show Perfect Match. Just go subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, subscribe to the RHAP YouTube channel. That's where you can get the visual representation of what we're talking about. So make sure you go subscribe in all the places so you can get all the things. Yes. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So to get started, first we're going to talk about episodes 7 through 9. Yes. And then we'll come in the end to talk about all the juicy reunion stuff, which I was just glad they went ahead and dropped that. I was so glad they didn't decide to just wait.
Because I think while I could have predicted a lot of what ended up happening, I'm glad I didn't have to wait for that instant notification.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we kicked it off with like the rest of the changeover, right? And so we had, the social media drama, which I was like, wait, why did we cut this off? Like, it felt like an abrupt halt to like where we could go with that. But I guess they were like, oh, we're just going to revisit it when we get really into Megan and Haley.
Yeah, we jump back into that. And I still don't 100% follow what the drama was, but it seems like a lot of the issues with a lot of couples were like, you saw me but then didn't talk to me, or you liked this thing and then you blocked me, and like the differences of that. And I feel like a lot of these things, if you're ever going on a show like this, have established very firm rules with your significant other ahead of time on what you're allowed to do in the swapped couple and how you're going to interact with each other while you're in the swapped couple. And then also talk to your trial marriage person about what you and your partner agreed upon as well.
If I was on this show, I would even go to the level of like, okay, on ultimatum day, if I'm wearing white, I'm going to say yes. And if I'm wearing black, don't propose to me, or like.
Exactly. Because it's just. Yeah, it seems so weird to just like be in the dark about it. I think that's part of it too. Like, it's one thing on like Love is Blind, where you've just met this person. Yeah, you maybe feel betrayed and like or whatever about something that happens. Like, okay, you just met this person, you're still getting to know them. It's a different gay animal when you go on this show with somebody you have like 10 years of history with, and then they lie to you. It feels deeper.
For
Like,
sure. For
there's
sure.
so much
I said it in the first one. The most hardcore people are people that bring their real relationship onto a dating show. That is the most hardcore thing you can do on reality TV, in my opinion.
Yes.
It's crazy. Okay. Can we just please discuss the Spotify situation? Can we
Yes.
get into it?
Yeah.
First of all, can we just say one of the most egregious producer manipulations I can possibly imagine? Like, I'm sorry, what? Megan and Haley are just sitting in their apartment, and then it just appears on the TV, the Spotify accounts of both Dana and Mel. Like, I call absolute BS. I mean, it created amazing drama, so I get it. But like, that honestly is crazy. Like,
It's
what?
like the equivalent of like in Big Brother when they air someone's DR like live, or
Right.
like they have the audio go in the house. Yeah, that's bad.
But the show just doesn't really have rules. That's like part. Yeah.
Because it would have made more sense to us as the audience if it was like, oh, they have family accounts with their partner, right?
Right.
And so that makes sense how they can see everything that's happening. But no, like Megan said, we tried to log into our own accounts and we couldn't because we needed a code. But we saw both of your accounts. We saw your playlist. We saw your playlist with each other. Apparently Dana took songs from Megan's playlist and put it on this playlist. And this was like the receipts that Haley had.
Right.
Yeah, and I will say messy on Haley to say that she
For
had a bunch
sure.
of receipts if this was all she had.
Yes.
I don't
Not
know.
really much, but it was
It's enough.
a lot. It was enough. And again, I compared this a lot to Temptation Island in the last episode, but this was such a Temptation Island situation of just like, you get a glimpse to some random thing, and then you like, it does seem like that really did affect Megan's entire interpretation of what Dana was doing, which, to be fair, Dana was fucking falling in love with Mel, or like having a crazy connection that resulted in them getting matching tattoos. So it's like, the receipts, they tattooed the receipts on their body. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Not to jump ahead, but I don't know how to look at this any other way than just saying Dana and Megan either fall in love very easily or they're lying to themselves. Like, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
Or they both were seeking other things outside of their relationship, which maybe isn't working as well as they want us to believe. And that's like, I don't know. They seemed, they came back together. They were still together. So we know that. But I just, they clearly both wandered far.
Way too, yes, so far. I feel like, I don't know. I was feeling like Haley, which they obviously wrapped back around to it in the reunion, but Haley got way too much flack for this. Like, this is enough to bring to Marie. Like, I don't think it's something that like, oh, I saw that, I'm not gonna say anything, even though I've developed this friendship with this person. And like, you didn't see, Kyle having a playlist with Pilar. Like, what's the need for a playlist if y'all are just sitting around playing cards?
Right. Although we don't know that because the producers didn't just randomly log it on their TV.
You know what? And here's the thing. I don't care about the playlist or not. I care about the noises that we heard.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, I was sold.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I thought that was just so, like, my mouth dropped when it was like, oh, it just magically came up. Like, okay, like, Evvie, you're so right. Like, the producer manipulation in the situation is beyond me. But yes.
And I was just gonna say, I will say the one I think we're gonna spend the rest of this podcast talking about how Megan we were riding for Megan and we are not riding for Megan anymore. I feel like that's happening for me. But I did think it still was so cute in the changeover part when Haley and Megan were doing their thing, and like Megan said something of like, you'll always like riff my biff or something. And then
Yeah.
Haley was like, if there's one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna riff your biff your riff. And it was just so cute. And I was like, I want that to be real.
It seemed, and again, I know we're jumping ahead. It seemed like at the reunion, everyone was like kind of okay. Like those two
Yeah.
couples seemed fine, maybe not like super close friends, but at least like tolerable, unlike other people we saw. So
That's true. They were not the primary conflict in the end.
Exactly. Which you would have thought they would have been.
the
But
other
yeah,
thing about the like changeover bit was it seemed like it sometimes Dana wanted to have it both ways. Dana wanted to give space and ignore Megan when it was right for them, but wanted the support when she needed it as well,
yes.
And it's like, you can't have both. But
No.
Yes.
And I think what we saw with Megan and Haley, specifically at the changeover, since this is the last good moment we have of these two, is just that it felt authentic, which I think in that situation, and I even saw a bit of this with Marie and AJ, was we saw more of who they are. Like when Megan is with what we see when Megan is with Dana, it feels like Megan is kind of retreats, and it's just kind of like a different version of herself. Whereas with Haley, it felt like she felt more comfortable and open to be herself. And I felt that way too with Marie. Like I feel like we see a little bit of a more confident Marie than when we saw Marie with Mel. But it sucks that this was the last piece of, whatever.
and maybe it's because when you're in a short-term relationship that is going to be more or less short-term, that like it's easier to be your full self,
Yeah.
It's like if you're hanging out with someone, I always said like it's easier to flirt with your like younger siblings' friends who it doesn't mean anything with, and then you can just like peace out and be like, whatever. Like I could be confident around you,
Yeah.
But yeah, the only other thing at the changeover was just they did shine a light on Dana and Mel, and Dana kind of was getting mad about the fact that she wanted Megan to be there for her. She's like, Dana had the nerve to be like, I was there for you before decision day. Oh, when Megan wanted to leave with you?
Yes. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. You came to me and cried to me, and I totally gave you nothing. Like, but I was there. I literally was physically there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. But then they moved on to the trial marriages. So first up, we are going to talk about Ashley and Marita, who had very little drama at the changeover, which they pointed out, and they were like, yeah, at least we have respect in our relationship.
Yep. From episodes 1 through 9, they had respect.
Only.
Yes. Yeah. They did seem really sweet. I do feel like aside from the couples where there was like the active tension, like Megan and Dana, most of the couples seemed really happy to just be back in physical space again. And they were I thought they were really cute in the limo, like just driving away and just being like a little giggly and touchy. It was like it was a little sweet time, I thought, for them. There were a couple, I feel like we really saw in their trial marriage how they have like a really beautiful, especially like what could be a friendship. Like they just like our best friends are like cute together doing stuff, and just like obviously Marita just wants it to be expressed in a different way that Ashley just can't do.
We say it all the time in like Love is Blind, but it's like this is a couple who they're neither one of them is wrong. They're just not a good couple together. Like, and I feel like a lot of times, maybe a little bit because of how they look, I'm like, they give sibling vibes or friend vibes. Like they seem great as people, but they just even their friends were kind of like encouraging them to break up. It's like,
oh my god,
yeah,
like,
her sisters. Oh my gosh, her twin sister, and her other sister, and it was like me and my girlfriend were like, first of all, I can't tell who's talking because all four of them sounded the same. Had the
I
same,
didn't even
like,
catch whose sisters were these. Like I couldn't even tell.
They were Ashley's.
Okay, they're Ashley sisters, and I was like, I'm like they are all saying nice things. Like you're great. You just both. The fact that you have been together for this long and you can't like figure out how to show love to each other in the way you need, it's like it's just not going to work. And you know, and they had a lot of like pretty good conversation. The fact that they are very easily able to spell out what is not working in the relationship
Yeah.
just shows that it's like,
Yeah.
great. So do that. So I kept writing all my notes over and over. I'm just like, they're nice. They just need to break up.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was like, yeah, like you said, that was real eye opening because if the closest people to you, Ashley,
Mhm.
can see that that is the resolution,
No.
you know, because we saw just a complete opposite with like Haley and Pilar, with like Haley's family loving Pilar. They're
Yeah.
not suggesting breaking up.
Right.
But with this is they're probably tired of hearing Ashley complain about the relationship, complaining like, oh, there's all these things she's asking. I don't know why I can't do them.
Right. And it just
Well,
is true. Like, it just is true. Clearly, it's not her natural love language. And it is
yeah.
true. They literally are in a 3-week thing. And she just really could be like, producers, get me 100 roses for our
Right.
room. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this just would be the easiest thing to change for this temporary situation if
Yeah.
if she wanted to. And she just clearly, it's just like, yeah, they just are like, she doesn't want to. It's not going to work. Like, they just should break up. But it just is.
Yeah.
I was kind of more sympathetic to Ashley in general, but it was, I mean, probably she just knew that they should break up. But I'm just like, you really could have done this here, I feel.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
was
mean?
sympathetic, and I am sympathetic in terms of like, if this is not something that you are comfortable showing, like I get it. Like if you're not someone who finds importance and finds a desire to do these like big romantic gestures, that's fine. But sometimes the way it came across seemed to me, it just reminded me of like guys I've known who've been like, I just love you so much and I just want to be there for you. But I don't want to put in the effort to do the thing you want. It's like,
Right.
okay. It's like, well,
Right.
you could if you wanted to, but you don't want
Right.
to. So here we
Right.
are.
Yeah. I felt like that fight at the pool table was just so eye opening. We obviously got
Mhm.
into like love languages in the last podcast, but it was just like, Ashley, you are not hearing her. Like
Right.
she is being so explicit. This isn't one of those things where I just can't put my finger on it. Like I just need
Right.
something more from you. No, she specifically outlined what she needs, and you are unwilling because you don't see the importance for you, but it's important to her. So
Right.
it's,
Right.
you know, it's just like if I guess it was worth fighting for, you'd be willing to do that. But there's something in Ashley at that moment, just like this isn't worth fighting for, and she just couldn't, I guess, verbalize that to herself. And
Yeah.
so for her, it became just like confusing, like what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a wild ride.
I have some things to say about them during the actual like decision
Ultimatum.
time,
Yeah,
but yeah, up until this point, yeah, that was kind of we didn't see
Right.
much from them. There was like 3 scenes.
Yeah. Should
yeah,
we get into
exactly.
it?
So
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
so let's talk about it. Like the when we get to the ultimatum day, they've now like Ashley has even expressed, even through the cocktail party, was like, "Thank you, Bridget, for kind of helping me like reverse or like think about the ultimatum differently. Now I feel like
Mhm.
I'm the one given the ultimatum." And so Ashley walks in thinking like, "Okay, I don't even know if I want to do this." When that is not the case usually with people. And so now Ashley doesn't know if she wants to do it. Marita is on the fence, but kind of leaning like yes. And yeah, they are the only couple that decide not to get engaged.
And I liked everything that Ashley said though. She's like, I you know, Marita says that she would have been ready to commit to Ashley if she had proposed at this time, which is great. Ashley says like I loved her enough to let her go. Like, you know, I love you more than anything. You deserve the whole world, even if that's not with me. And I think like the honest thing, at least from what I was reading at the time, is probably like it's not as cut and dry as like, oh, Ashley just doesn't want to do these things. It's like Ashley's feeling like I don't know that I'm going to be able to do these
Yeah.
things forever for the rest of our lives for Marita that she
Yeah.
wants and deserves. I don't know that I can be that person for her, is how I
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah. No, it was very honest. It was clearly the right decision.
Yes,
And I like it was just
1000%.
clearly right. And honestly, the thing that frustrated me the most was Marita like guilting her about it. Like, Marita, you're like I honestly it's like both of like I'm like Ashley gets the credit for being the one who was brave enough to be like, no, we have
Yeah.
to stop this. It's clear we're in the same fight over and over again.
Yeah.
It's clearly incompatible. And it was honestly quite annoying to me of Marita to be like, I was ready to say yes. I mean, obviously, if that's true, she should say it, whatever. But it's just like, have some responsibility for your own happiness too, where it's like, you've said a
Yeah.
million times this isn't working. Nothing she's done is changing that. And
Yeah.
so it's like, just be brave enough to then also yourself walk away. Like, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
Well, and
yeah.
this is the risk of the ultimatum, right? From both sides is the person who is the ultimatum receiver, I think, can sometimes feel like, well, hold on, you don't get to change your position because you proposed to, or you wanted to get
You
married,
brought
and
me
it's like,
here.
nah, both people are allowed to change their position if they want to.
Yeah, yeah, totally,
Yeah,
totally.
and I get that, and I get that this was the right decision. This absolutely needs to happen for them, clearly. But I felt so bad for Marita because it's like, okay, she's here because she just wants more love from Ashley. She goes through the heartbreak of AJ.
Yeah,
And
it's
then now
true.
she goes through this heartbreak, which we find out on the reunion that Ashley had asked Marita's dad for her hand in marriage,
Yeah.
and to get that blessing, and so then obviously Marita's walking into this thinking it's going to happen. Like, why would she bring my family into this if it's not going to happen? And so it's like she was heartbroken all over again.
I never understand on the shows why people do the like asking for the hand thing unless they're just truly undecided until that moment.
Yeah.
And so they want to like cover their bases, but I don't know.
I mean, whatever people want to. If that's something that's important for them, they should do it. But I'll always think that's a weird thing, personally. um, but yeah, it's just like, but like this was the. It's just I can't like I get that disappointment, but that I guess that's part of the whole thing of Marita's thing, where she is a bit in a fantasy of like I am like in the fantasy world, like you'd be different in the fantasy. Like it's just like obviously you guys shouldn't get engaged. I just, yeah, I don't know. It was such
Yeah.
the right decision. Like,
Yeah.
I also really liked what Ashley said of like, I wouldn't want to wake up on the day I proposed to you and be like
And
feeling
feel
this
like
way,
this.
which I feel like some of the other couples should have kept in mind because that's pretty
Exactly.
true. Like,
Yep.
Exactly.
yeah,
So we'll definitely come back to Ashley and Marita when we talk about them on the reunion, because they definitely were pretty much the stars of the show.
yeah.
But let's go ahead and jump over to Mel and Marie.
Oh Lordy.
Um,
God.
oh my gosh. Okay. So this car ride from the changeover was very interesting because I just feel like and okay, TikTok is doing enough of this of like going in on Mel and her like her facial expressions and everything, but the way she is just always smiling
Yes.
is
Yeah.
like it's almost as if she's not taking Marie's feelings seriously, right?
Yes, I find her honestly just so manipulative in in this whole part. Like I just yeah, like I don't know. It's just like a terrible. It's just a terrible power position where it's like Marie really wants her, so it's like it feels like she can just do anything, and
Yeah.
then Marie will just contort herself for that. And like yeah, in the car, in the car when they talk about the tattoos and all that stuff, like
Oh,
Marie is like, "Oh God, Dana's gonna be in my life forever." Like that's like her only. That's the
that's
only
her
way she can
default.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my God, that's such a sad dynamic. Like,
I'm
ugh,
like, that there's no way that should have been her first thought, but because that was her first thought, it just puts you in her
yes,
headspace at the time, and just like there's just like this relationship with Mel is the way. Like there's no option for her outside of Mel, which Mel clearly sees, because all of their scenes, for the most part, before we get up to the ultimatum day, were about how much power Mel has in this
yes,
relationship,
Yes.
and how Marie is basically trying to convince her that this is for her. Because
it
I
was
was
so
so annoyed when they were
sad.
on the couch having that
Yes.
conversation. She's like, Marie, what I want for you, I want you to know, like, I want you to find your voice through this. Just like,
Like,
girl, what are you doing?
it was so sad. Like she like beat this poor fucking woman down. Like it was like both I'm gonna like, have this like whole thing with Dana. I'm gonna come back to you with a freaking matching tattoo for my trial wife. And then like I'm gonna now have a list of demands of like kind of like what you need, what I need from you to keep you, like to keep me and she just was so willing to contort herself. And then all the contortions I feel like also made Mel less into her because like she
Yes.
like she wants Marie to be confident. So like every time Marie is like, no, actually I want what you want, that's like a strike against her. Like it's just
It's a
it's
Yeah.
no-win
so hard to
situation for
watch.
Marie.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like Marie can't do
absolutely.
anything. It's like if Marie acts like, "Oh, I'm not going to put you on a pedestal," then Mel's gonna be like, "Oh, so you don't really love me." And then
Yep.
if Marie acts the way she did, which was like, I mean, everything Marie was saying was like the most understanding, the most I'm
Yeah.
on your side, despite how much Mel did not deserve it. Um, and like saying, I can be your stable point in this relationship. Like we can be our own good example of commitment. Like you can have it's worth it to have a home in someone else. Everything here, it was just,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like the fact that Mel is, while all of this is happening, still keeping the door open with Dana, like
Trying
100%.
as
Right.
until ultimatum day. Literally
Right.
all the way until like that's what just oh that's so heartbreaking because yeah, Marie is just giving, giving, giving. Like Mel, obviously, she's saying like, "Oh, I want to be heard, I want to be seen," and so Marie is trying so hard to do that, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, when Mel is like, "Look, I don't want to hold you back from kids." Marie is willing to budge on that to say, "No, I'm willing. Like, you are my family. Like, that's what family is to me, and we could revisit it." Mel's like, "Oh, well, I feel like even you saying that means you're putting us above you." And it's just like even when it's like Mel was trying at every point to get Marie to walk away
Right. Which is
because
again, that is the worst when you want to break up with someone and you're just trying to get them to break up with you. That is
yes,
so fucked up. Take the responsibility and just break up with the person. Like that is
like
just so sad.
like this woman you've been with for 4 years, you tell her, I really don't see myself like in a long-term relationship. And then
You
Marie has to talk her into it to say, "No, we're not going to be like all these examples that you have." And Mel's just like basically internally like, "It's not what I want you to say."
I think
Uh,
Mel wanted Marie to just break up with her.
yeah,
Yes, exactly. Yes. Which is like there's a solution to that problem. You break up with her, Mel. Be a grown
right.
up.
Do
Like,
it.
yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah.
she just didn't like she wouldn't.
Yeah.
We even find out okay, so Mel had texted Dana
Mhm.
and Dana what responded saying like, "Hey, like I'm uncomfortable like with that kind of communication." And so Mel was like, "Oh, okay, I don't think that's Dana. I feel like that's Dana and Megan."
Um,
And so it's just kind of like she was trying to like, okay, well, I'm just going through the motions here, but I'm really trying to keep, Dana involved. And then at the cocktail party, oh my gosh, this the just it was funny because Mel was trying to be how Mel is with Marie, like
yeah.
Mhm.
very just like trying like I want you to come to me,
Yeah.
but Dana's not that type of person.
Yeah.
No.
I will honestly say in this once they after this changeover part, I did feel that Dana and Mel are a much better match for Mel than Marie and Mel are. I get it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You
Okay,
don't?
here's my thought on
Yeah.
that, and I don't know them, I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
I read that as, "Oh, I get why Mel and Dana like each other in the short term,
Right.
but
Well,
this
sure.
would be a
Yeah.
rough long-term relationship," because and during the, reunion, Mel is going to say, "I think we both brought out the most irresponsible parts of
Yeah.
each other,"
That's
which is
Yeah.
true.
totally true. I'm like,
So
"Look, I
true.
Absolutely
get it."
true.
They both it would be like it's like The Notebook, it's like a very passionate
Yeah.
relationship for sure, but, like, they fight, they give as good as they get kinda, and like this whole I someone needs to explain to me Dana because I'm like every conversation with Dana, Dana's like, "I want to have it all. I want both sides. I want to have it my way. You cannot ignore me and speak to me the way you are." But oh, hold on. We're not together and I'm not going to pretend that we need to respect our original relationships. But you mean so much to me. But we're not going to be together. But if you want us to ever have a relationship, then you need to be nice to me now. I'm like, "What do you want?
Well,
What is
it's because
happening?"
she wants her cake and she wants to eat it
Yes,
too,
that's
and
what I'm
she
saying.
wants the ball in her court. She
Right.
always wants to be the one that is in control, which is
Right, she
very
wants
clear that
Mel
she
to
can.
continue to pursue her, but only on her own terms when it works, when
Yeah,
it's beneficial to her, and only if she decides not to be with Megan.
Right.
and that's her dynamic with Megan. Like that
Yeah,
is their dynamic. Like Megan lets Dana be the person that is in charge, and
Right.
that's why that works for them oddly enough. But with the fact that she's not able to kind of like the fact that Mel is doing her own thing, she's like, oh no, I need you to know that like if I want to come to you, I should be able to come to you.
Well,
And
that's why I'm like, but I do think like for Mel specifically, like I just do think Mel is like, first of all, kind of a bullshit artist. And second of all, like just the kind of person that will like, she's always like you were saying about her posture, Aysha. It's like she's always kind of
yes.
waiting to like see what the other person is doing. And then she's gonna like just only give what would match to that. So it's like in that conversation when Dana is like very focused on her trial marriage, now Mel is like not gonna say
Mhm.
that she wants to be with her, but is just gonna be this weird guarded, like
Yes.
weird, like smile, quiet thing that is so annoying. And like I do feel like ultimately, like for someone to actually be with her, it would have to be someone that has to be like fucking stop that. Like I kind of
Yeah.
get why Dana was reacting like that in that moment. I'm not saying I think maybe Mel should do some work on this pattern, internal work,
Oh,
some
absolutely.
growth, as is obviously what's happening in the show. It's all about growth, but I don't know. I do feel like that was better than what was happening in the Marie situation, where she just like would like hear an answer, kind of shut down, and then just like that's the end, you know?
Yeah.
And I get that. I get
Yeah.
that 100%. So
No, but it would be I would not want to go near them.
it would be it would be tumultuous. But you're right. I do
Right.
think that Mel probably does think that Mel wants someone to do that.
Yeah, but it's always annoying when someone's like, "I just need to be bullied into this thing." Like, just own your
Yeah.
own life. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm so glad we did get the ultimatum day with Mel and Dana first. Because sometimes they do
Because
those
I don't
after
know
the
what
fact.
Mel would have done otherwise.
Yes.
No,
Well,
literally.
I know.
But
Like
Mel's like, I'm
imagine
literally gonna sit back here. It's like the definition of like, I'm gonna wait to see who's winning before I pick a side, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what it seemed like. Like if Dana had come up to Mel and said, like, I want to run away together,
Yeah.
I think Mel would have done it.
1000%.
1000%. I
and
wish
wouldn't
they
look
did
back.
the order different. That like on last season with Xander and Yoli and stuff, they made Xander break up with Vanessa only to find out that Yoli was engaged to Mal.
Yeah.
And I do kind of wish that had been what happened here. So I think that would have been
But that would have forced Mel to make a decision.
right.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
Exactly. She's like, I'm going to put my own feelings aside. Like, it's just like she was so caught off guard that Dana was choosing Megan.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I bought a ring for Marie.
I mean,
I still
And
don't
a ring
know.
pop.
Yeah. That was another moment where I did like Dana in the Mel interaction where she was like, you don't marry someone because she wants to.
Because she wants you to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she said, well, why are you doing it? And she's like, oh, because she wants me to. Do you hear the words coming out of your mouth?
Yeah.
Like, do you see how that is wrong? Or
And
that
then
is
how
not
do you
fair?
go propose knowing that you just said that to that person on TV?
Well,
like,
and again, yeah, that it's gonna be on TV. I don't know what, but like I still have a bunch of question marks in the Dana Mel combo. I'm still confused about what Dana wanted Mel to say and all of this.
I think Dylan wanted to say I'm choosing Megan, but still wanted Mel to say I want to run
choosing
away.
you.
Yes.
She's gonna be like,
yeah.
okay, we can't be together like that, but I do want you in my life because I can't not have you in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because Dana was like I think you're lying by saying that that you just want to be friends or whatever. It's like,
because she was.
well, she was lying, but like Dana, you don't get to hear that.
You don't get to have that.
No,
no, you have it. Like,
no, Dana. To be clear, I find that behavior so obnoxious from Dana, but it just needs to be said to Mel. Like
it does. It does. That's the hard part. Is like, it's these two. How do you, when there are two villains, how do you root for one of the villains?
Right.
So we get to the ultimatum ultimatum day for Mel and Marie, and Mel ends up proposing, and Marie is over the moon. With a ring pop at first.
Right. Also with the worst proposal, like today I'm sure, but tomorrow I might not be. Like it's like, what the fuck? Like,
also, look, I feel like someone needs to say it, and I'm not the right person to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I think everyone is allowed to have their own style. But like, could you iron your shirt or something? It's like it's wrinkly. Like, come on. I don't know. Put like the tiniest amount of effort in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear that. I just,
Yeah.
yeah. I kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Again,
there's
I'm the wrong person to say this, but I'm gonna own an iron. But like, come
No,
on.
there's a large majority of TikTok, the ultimatum Krilla of TikTok, that will agree with you.
yeah, that Mel was certainly had the worst fits. I'd say. I mean, yeah, the vibes were okay. Again, just that extra polish, you know.
Yeah,
That, yeah,
just at least for proposal day, do whatever you want on your own time.
I mean, it's just because she was just all over the place, didn't even know she wanted to do this in the first place. And it was just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, she's left it. You know, it's just kind of like on The Bachelor when all their options leave and they're left with one person. And
Yes.
they're just like, well, I might as well propose.
I honestly wish she had just done the ring pop, because then it could have been
Yeah,
like, okay,
same.
we are like getting engaged, aka we're not breaking up for the purposes of this show. We're gonna leave together, but we're like not real engaged. We're gonna go figure this out at home,
Also,
which I would respect. You know,
I don't understand the ring thing. I mean, I'm sure that it's the same as what it is on some of these other shows where it's like, we'll give you rings, but you have to pay for them. Like we're not giving them to you for free, because a couple of the couples mention like, oh yeah, I had to go buy a different ring later, or had to propose later. I'm like, what? So could you not
I
use the rings that were there? I don't know.
in my head, I imagined that they gave them a ring. They just gave them all a standard ring, but that it's like kind of ugly, and then like they wanted to like have a real one. You know?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right. So more with Mel and Marie later, obviously.
Yeah.
Plenty to discuss there. Marie is the happiest person at the reunion.
Yeah.
God.
So let's talk about Pilar and Haley. Or no, Pilar and Kyle real quick. Because that's about as much as wait, not Pilar and Haley.
Bridget and Kyle?
Bridget and Kyle.
I have these people all mixed up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Pilar and Haley.
Okay.
Nice. Do you want to switch?
So I was right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had my names all mixed up. Okay, let's talk about Pilar and Haley. So their car ride from the changeover was interesting because Haley just dropped real quick. Like, oh yeah, we did do some stuff.
You know what? If I respect anything, it's a person who's just open and honest right from the start.
1000%.
Agreed. I really appreciated the way.
Haley, you are messy, but you are honest. So
she is so honest. She literally fully confesses everything to Pilar, as much as it hurts her to do that. She fully confesses. And I'm just like, imagine if the roles were reversed, or not even the roles were reversed. Imagine if Mel had just been honest with Marie. Like, Marie is literally in a position, you know, you have the upper hand with Marie in y'all's dynamic. Yeah, she would have forgiven her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing she's most pissed about is you making her look stupid.
Yeah. No, this was like that. Haley consistently showed legitimate respect for Pilar in the way that she handled this. And I just like,
love them.
You know, yeah.
And it didn't seem like Pilar was upset that Haley had done something that they had agreed not to do. It seemed more like she was upset that that Haley had gotten to the point where she wanted to both hook up with Megan and also say that they loved each other, right? Like obviously that's the more impactful thing. It didn't, because sometimes, you know, I think in some of the relationships it was like oh my gosh, why'd you cross that line? Like we had a rule where that wasn't going to happen. But that didn't seem to be the case here. The thing that came out the most was that we hear a lot from Pilar about like how Pilar doesn't think that she's put Haley first all the time and like kind of supported her because she's been, you know, thinking more about herself, which is not something we really heard about in the first half of the season. But it might speak a little bit towards why Haley in a situation where she's getting a lot from Megan might have felt like, oh my gosh, this is so different. You know, remember, this is the first like relationship these two have ever been in, and they've been in it together. And so I think that might make more sense and add more like understanding to why all of this stuff happened, and why Pilar was like, I mean, certainly more understanding about all this than I would have been. So
yes. Yeah. It's that foundation that they have. I think the
Mhm.
fact that that was Pilar's that was Pilar's first thought was, oh my gosh, did I drive you to do this? Like by not proposing, by not committing. And so it was just like, it was so real, so genuine, like such an authentic interaction. I was so happy with Haley just being fully honest, and yes, having that respect for Pilar, because that's why I think they were able to recover and move forward.
Yes.
Because Pilar's main thing is she does not want to just be a default second. Like she
Yeah.
wanted Haley to explore that and be like, "Oh, I'm choosing you even having this experience."
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, if you're going to go on the show, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. I
Also,
just
I
feel
don't
like
know
they were.
why, because sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know why every time I see Haley in this picture, I'm surprised because I feel like Haley gives like very tall energy, and then the two of them are like the same height. I'm like, never
Yeah.
mind.
No,
It always
yeah.
throws me off.
Maybe Pilar's wearing heels in this pic. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No. No, I just feel like the whole time they were really focused on the right stuff in a way
Yes.
that some of the other couples were extremely distracted by like nitty-gritty whatever stuff.
Yeah.
Like they were really like eyes on the prize, like what are we doing here? What does it mean that this happened? Like I just I don't know, I liked it. And the dinner with Haley's dad.
Oh, I loved it. I
Okay,
loved it.
Haley's dad was like, I hear that there is a parent who has stolen the spotlight, and I need to come back in and put
Yes.
my foot in the door for best parent on the episode. And shout out to Pilar for being able to experience both from Kyle's mom and Haley's
Oh yeah.
dad, like just such wonderful parents out here.
Yeah.
Being like so supportive and everything. And when Haley's dad said, like, I'm here for Haley, but I'm also here for you.
Yes.
Oh,
That was so
So
amazing.
my
sweet.
heart.
Yeah. And I think that I just really love that they showed that, because I do think that is a really authentic queer experience also, when
Yeah.
like in a lot of couples and a lot of queer people in general, like their parents aren't supportive, but they have a parent, like a friend or a
Yeah.
partner's parents who fill that role. And it's just, or an aunt or uncle, whatever, some sort of parent figure that's not their parent, but like, and I just thought that was so freaking sweet. And like
So
for
sweet.
like probably like boomer dad to walk into this situation where it's like your lesbian daughter is like, well, I just fell in love with someone else on a reality show, and here
Yeah.
I am with my daughter, and just like handle it perfectly. Like he was just super sweet and supportive, and
It like she starts crying. He immediately decide like I need to, first and foremost, I
I'm
need to
gonna
come
hug my
comfort
child.
you.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Ugh. Amazing. And yeah, Pilar is the winner of the season.
Yeah.
Getting to experience Kyle's mom. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And Haley's dad. But yeah, that conversation was amazing. I thought it was interesting. We found out a couple of things in terms of Haley and Megan interacting. That Haley saw Megan at a club and Megan did not make eye contact. So that really made Haley mad. And Haley knows she saw her. And then Haley also sent a song to Megan, and Megan said, "Hey, I think we shouldn't be contacting each other." But then we also found out from Megan that Haley avoided Megan at the gym when they ran into each other. And then also Haley liked a picture of Megan's.
Yeah.
Everyone is so, it's like high school or middle school, like, oh, well, they didn't look at me, so I'm not going to look at them. It's like
Yeah.
everyone is just doing back what they don't want done to them, which
Yes,
Haley
'Cause
says
they
at the
know it
cocktail party.
hurts.
She's like,
Yes.
you did the same thing to me that you were upset that Dana had done to you.
No.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's all just so, like, I was actually surprised because I thought the way that this was going to trend was that by the end of the show, Haley was going to be like the why are you starting drama kind of person. And it doesn't really seem like that. Like, I think that they were all just kind of messy in this whole situation.
Yeah. It just really, I mean, for Megan to not look at Haley, which was the number one thing that she was complaining about, like that sparked the entire situation, like is just outrageous. And it's just more evidence that it's just like, okay, she came back into Dana land and then just did whatever Dana wanted.
Yeah,
And Dana, it's like
exactly.
what Dana wanted was like, if I'm in my trial marriage, I don't look at the other person. So now
Right.
Megan's like, okay, well, we don't look at the other person. It's like, what the actual hell? Like,
Yeah. When they had the conversation at the cocktail party, Haley and Megan has the nerve to be like, well, I just felt like if I would have looked at you, you would have, put my trial marriage in jeopardy. When
Like,
have looks started to ruin things?
but I'm
Like,
like, I think Dana would have kicked her ass if she did that. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like, that's who Dana is. I believe that if Megan were to have like said hi to Haley, then Dana would have probably been like, that was so disrespectful.
Even though that's exactly what Dana did.
Yeah, no, Dana.
Right.
Yeah, but Dana didn't. Dana was like, I don't look at Megan when I'm in my trial marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
Oh,
She's
I
like,
see
I
what you're saying.
respect
Oh
it.
my
Yeah.
yeah,
god.
like,
Ugh.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And as we
What
know,
did
Dana wants everything, so it's just
right? What did y'all think of like how Haley approached the conversation with Megan, where it was like, look, you said you were in love with me. Don't try to make me think that, because Megan admitted that, oh, I wasn't in love with you,
yeah,
which is not true. Megan explicitly told Dana,
Oh,
I am in love with Haley.
and the show decides not to be as messy as it could have been by pulling that back up at the reunion, but I guess whatever. They didn't want to start more fights.
which why not? Why not though? Yeah,
So writers covered it. I'm sure they can edit this together.
yeah,
Um, I think it was fine. I mean, my stance on these things with people, with Mel, with Dana, with Haley, with Megan, I feel like you can say, Megan, I know that what you said, and you can deny it all you want, but I know you said it. But I actually don't think that anyone has the like Megan's allowed to say, I'm not going to admit that now. Like that, in which case Haley should be like, okay, all
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Then I've heard enough. If you don't want to admit it, that's fine.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I was glad that Haley just stuck to her guns.
yeah.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
Do
did just
you
because
feel
think
so.
though?
Yeah. I just felt so bad for her. It sucks. It's like she really did like cause this huge problem in her relationship with Pilar. And now Megan is just like backtracking. It was really sad. I was heartbroken because I was like, I fell in love with this cute little relationship.
Yep,
And now Megan's denying it.
I know.
exactly.
I was kind of rooting for them. But
You
so
know what
then
I think happened?
what?
I think when Megan told Dana, I am in love with Haley, Dana just over and over and over has told her since, you are not in love with her. You think you
Hmm.
were, but you are not. You keep
Yeah.
saying that. That was not love. And it's like she just has kept reinforcing it to her to the point that Megan is now in this position of, oh, I guess I wasn't in love with Haley.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's also just the nature of you get back into your original relationship and you're like, oh shoot, these are the families we know, these are the friends we know,
Yeah.
this is the life we have together. It's going to be a lot easier to go with this one.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so how do we feel then for Pilar? Of do we think that Haley should have gone through with this relationship having just done what she did with Megan?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I fully turned around on Haley and Pilar. I remember at the like at first I was just kind of like, these are friends, and that's more so how I feel about Marita and Marita and Ashley
Yeah,
now.
same.
But with Pilar and Haley, they really won me over, and I do think it was a result of their trial marriages, just kind of
Mhm.
being put in a position where they now know how they need to improve in their relationship with each other. It just felt a lot more like romantic. It felt like a lot more like, okay, now I see why these two are a couple, not just like, oh, a couple out of convenience because we've been around each other for 10 years.
Yeah, I felt like we were seeing them like I think it would have been, especially given the situation where it's like Haley is not running away with Megan or anything like that. Like it would have just been so hard to imagine them not leaving the show together. And the only way to do that in this show is to be engaged. So I'm
Yeah.
like, do I think that was maybe the perfect time for them to get engaged in the course of their 10-year relationship? Not
No.
necessarily. But
Yeah.
I do think like when you've put that, when you clearly have such an amazing thing that it was able to last that long. And it did seem like Pilar was I think they just both handled it well. Where Pilar was like, okay, I hear you about these things. She wasn't just like, how could you, in a way that I feel like also was showing a lot of respect towards Haley. I think they were just like really, you could see them really both really wanting it to work in a way that felt like no one was like shoving themselves into a box like some of these other
Yeah.
ones, And I don't know. I think I feel really happy that they left together. I think
Yeah.
that was great. Yeah.
I'm also glad that they did their Haley and Megan's ultimatum day before theirs so that we could fully enjoy. I wonder what that gift was, and I wish they would have gotten into that at the reunion. Like, what was the gift that Haley gave
Oh my God.
Megan
Yes. What a
that she had
cliffhanger.
to give her? Like she could have just whatever. It had to
I
be
don't know.
personalized.
I don't know what it was. Yeah.
No, why
Like,
would
was it
they
a
show
shirt?
us? Why would they show us that and not tell us what it was?
Yeah.
Maybe because she was holding it, and it was just like we can't just have her holding this thing. I don't know.
I feel like they could have figured it out.
But just the audacity for Megan to want Haley to apologize. I'm so glad she didn't. And I'm so glad she's like, absolutely don't want you in my life. Because you don't need her in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
That's good. You
yes.
should have a clean break.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and the clean break is what made me feel like, okay, I can feel good about this proposal happening. And I was very happy for them. And it just seemed like Pilar was over the moon. And it felt good in the moment. And then it's funny too. So my girlfriend was doing some snooping and saw that they had removed, or I guess, yeah, they had removed a lot of the TikToks they had together, or maybe it was Instagram posts that they had together. And then once everything came out, they put it back. And back in like 2024, there is a picture of Haley proposing to Pilar.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about another couple, let's talk about another couple that we probably won't have much to say for. The first of two that we may not have much to say about, but Kyle and Bridget. I thought it was so funny that you have these couples that are in turmoil about all these. Did sex happen? Did it not? Were these people together? Blah, blah, blah. And then you have Kyle over here like, oh, this kiss though.
Yeah.
But I think this was a clear example to me of either they had agreed not to do anything with anyone, and that was why it upset Bridget, or maybe they hadn't been a strict agreement, but they had like exchanged words that made them think this is going to be just to test each other. Like we're not going to be romantically invested in the person, right? It was a sweet conversation, but like I did like that, Bridget had to say like, I know you're upset and I know you're crying, but like if I come and comfort you, it's like I'm giving up my own feelings here too.
Yeah. Yeah, which felt like that really was, you could see that tension where they have said that they normally just like they don't hate to see the other one hurting, so they just and so I do think that was sweet. And yeah, I feel like that was good to see them actually work through a thing and like
yes, exactly. That was their first opportunity to kind of put what Kyle learned into practice. And I think the main thing about it was just like the people pleasing tendencies, like pointing that out and just kind of reassuring Bridget that, that's something that like Kyle acknowledges. But then of course we got to also see Kyle's parents again. So happy.
Hello. Kyle's Banff mom was like the best again.
Yeah. So funny that Kyle's dad said that Kyle was not ready for marriage.
That was hilarious. Just straight up no.
It's like nah.
Kyle's like, wait, what?
Oh, I loved it.
But I think the main thing that kind of like what I understood about this was like Bridget just needed to kind of reframe their idea of marriage.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they had like a very specific thought about what marriage looks like, what it needs to be, when it's like, no, it just like in the context of whoever you're with is what it can look like.
Yeah. And it's the same thing that Evvie said from the very beginning, which is like, if it doesn't matter that much to you, but it matters to Kyle, then you do it for Kyle, which is what Bridget says at the end. It's like, you got there.
I know. She literally said verbatim what I wanted her to say.
I was like, Evvie's going to be loving this.
I was like, yes.
All right. So ultimately they have a fine time during their trial marriage, and ultimately we get to their ultimatum day. And I wasn't sure if Bridget had fully come around yet. And so I was,
she was
so glad.
Nervous with like the taking off the
jacket
blazer
thing.
and everything.
Yes. But I was also like, that's a really cute jacket, but I'm sure it's really hot there. You're like in Miami. Like, what are you doing?
For them to show us like, oh, I'm so hot, let me take it off. oh, where can I put this?
Yeah.
It's like that was like they're really bringing us into the nervousness.
Yeah. They were like, what tension can we possibly provide? Yeah.
I
It
think,
did it for me.
I've said it from the beginning. I see so much of myself in Bridget that I was like in mannerisms and things that they were saying, and I'm just like, I would be the same way. Like on a TV show, be like, what do I do with this? Do I here, producer, take it?
Do I hand this to a
no, what do I do with my
cameraman? I
hair?
don't know.
I don't know. It was so good.
Yeah.
I
But I
I
was
thought for
happy for
sure at the
them.
very least that they would leave together, whether or not they got engaged or not.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because I kind of thought that for Marita and Ashley too. I was like, okay, they didn't get engaged, but maybe they're leaving together, but then they had to leave separate. So I was like, oh, well,
I think
okay.
the difference is just with Marita and Ashley, it's like they actually had issues in their relationship, whereas Bridget and Kyle,
Yeah.
the issue was just the fundamental decision of do we want to get married or not?
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of in name only, I guess. Yeah.
Right. So I think overall, this just helped their communication. But they were just never in jeopardy. They were solid from the start.
Yeah.
And now they're happily engaged. So our next couple we had was AJ and Britney, who, how could Britney cook those oxtails?
Yeah.
That was so
She
funny. That
couldn't
was like
even
their
eat
biggest
them off the
argument.
bone correctly.
And Marita in the car after when they flip back to Marita and Ashley's car, and Ashley's like, "So what's oxtail?" She's like, "I don't even know."
Yeah, that
like,
was
you didn't
so
even
funny.
appreciate it.
How?
This hurt so much, and you didn't even care.
Right. And they're doing this all while like Britney's like snuggled into AJ's arms. Like they're fine.
Yeah, they were so cute. I mean, I've never done like a bigger turnaround of
I
like
know.
my opinion
Oh
of
my
AJ
God.
in the first episode to the end, where
Yes.
I'm just like, they're beautiful. I love them. Like, yeah, like,
Yes.
It's just the thing. Like AJ liked the dating and did a great
That's
time
it.
at that.
Yeah.
You know.
And
yeah.
yeah. My mom read it like a tweet to me right before I came up here to podcast that like someone said AJ and Britney just basically wanted a vacation. I was like, that's it. There was nothing here.
I love. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
Well, actually, I love the conversation they had in the restaurant where AJ was like opening up about like I just feel like sometimes that you're gonna wake up one day and like think that I'm not enough and you know I feel like I need to be more, and then Brittany's like, all right, so be more. Like, that's all the two again.
No, literally. I love Britney was the only one who I feel like was like flawless in every element of this.
Yes.
Like she was amazing. But yeah,
Britney's
I mean, I will say I hated that conversation that they had where AJ was like, I did just love that Marita was like a stay-at-home mom to me. Like it's like, dude, that is not real life. She normally has a job, but she's here in a reality TV show where she has time to cook you breakfast. Like it's just like and it's like but at least clearly that's not where AJ ended up. Like I feel like she really was like she had this inferiority complex in her relationship with Britney and was like, okay, now I'm hot shit. I'm dating around. I get to be the hot shit. And ultimately realized, no, I have the best one and I'm obsessed with her and like was like made the right choice that she has a huge catch and just like live up to it. Let's go. Like,
yeah. Exactly. And I was like, you basically have just like described, someone who has zero time to do anything else. And Brittany even pointed out, was like, well, what did I do before Vitalux? Which we have now learned.
And I love
Brittany's business.
Right. And I love that Brittany was also just like, but when we came in here, that's like not at all what you were talking about. So like, what is it? Like, I just feel like she was really just like, let's focus. What's happening? I just, love Brittany.
It's like, that's great. But what does that have to do with us in our life?
Right.
Right. I did look up Vitalux.
What is
just
that?
To get it. So it's vitamin therapy and skincare. So it's like when you get like IV bags of vitamins, get it right into you. But yeah, that's her business that she's like, and we learned, in the reunion, she's learned work-life balance. So that's okay. That's what Britney was, or that's what AJ was worried about. But these two are they just basically need to learn like basic relationship things on like being with one another and adapting to another personality and working on insecurities.
And it sounds like AJ is unhappy with elements of her own life and
Yeah.
should go fix those things. Like, and I
Right.
just like, but I think Britney was great at being like, but I don't need you to fix them before we get married.
Yeah,
To
she's like,
accept
"I'm
this.
good
So
on
like,
that."
yeah. So
Yeah,
you need to work on that. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
So ultimately they do get engaged. They looked great. AJ proposed and it was beautiful and Britney was over the moon.
And AJ did get to do those sweet kind of provider things, like the moment where she pulled out the tissues from her blazer
Oh yeah.
pocket to give it to Britney. That was adorable. Love.
Yes.
Be that person, AJ. Love it.
Yes. Yeah. I think these two are I've like you said, I've never done a bigger 180 on a person.
Yeah.
AJ was the most improved player this
Yes.
season. I
Yep.
really appreciated AJ's
Also,
growth.
award to both of them for best fits at the reunion. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my
I
God.
loved their matching. I
Absolutely.
loved the
Gorgeous.
color. Everything about it looked great. It was like when you see like a band and they're like matching but wearing different versions and you're like, ooh, which one am I? Oh, loved it.
It was literally
Yeah.
like black, gay Barbie and Ken, like in the
It was
best
so good.
way.
Yes.
Yeah, like in the best way.
So
Like,
good. That
Yes.
seafoam
Exactly.
green, beautiful.
yeah,
Loved it.
Perfect.
gorgeous.
It was the best like the most the shades were perfect. Yes.
They looked
And
amazing.
maybe just like give just like the tiniest little bit of fashion advice to Mel. Just like the tiniest. Just like a hint.
Yes.
I was trying to get a read on that. I was like, are they friends with Mel?
I don't know. I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I was trying to track it. So hard.
Okay, last couple before we get into the big moments from the reunion. We have Megan and Dana. I mean, unlike AJ, I mean, I guess like AJ, I changed my opinion about AJ. I also changed my opinion about Megan.
I don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
It was the way they left the changeover in that car ride, like it was as if it was over. Like
Yeah.
yes.
Megan was still the Megan that she was with Haley. She was still putting her foot down. She was still being confident. She was still standing on business. Like she was calling Dana out, rightfully
Mad about
so, with how she made her feel.
Yep.
And
Yep.
also, speak of them not using their receipts that they could have. When Dana got the tattoo, she said, Megan is going to be so upset because she's wanted to get matching tattoos. And then when Megan says, we wanted matching tattoos, Dana only later is like, I didn't know you wanted that. Yes, you did, because you told us.
She repeatedly lied about that later in the show.
Yes.
Yes. And also I want to apologize, Mary. I think in the last episode you called that it was Meg. There was a bit of who said that. Was it Megan or was it Dana or was it Mel? And I thought it was Mel, but it was Dana. And you were
Whichever.
right.
I knew somebody
Yeah.
had said
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And now we know it was Dana.
Yes,
Yeah,
and Dana, Dana had the audacity to lie to Mel, saying, "Oh, I forgot about that."
And such
Girl.
a wimp move to just say, I got a tattoo. And then, like, and Megan said, like, I had to ask you whether it was matching for you to
Yeah.
tell me. Like, that is if
Oh.
you're going to be so bold as to get a freaking matching tattoo with your trial wife partner, you have to be honest about that. Like, oh my
Terrible.
God.
Oh, yeah. So it was so tense, rightfully so. It was just like Megan's finally getting out how she could feel directly to Dana. And then Megan finally confesses what happened during her 3 weeks. And all this does is make Dana feel like she's some saint. She's like, I was sitting here thinking I was the bad guy.
You are.
No,
You're
girl,
still the
you
bad
still
guy.
did the things you did.
You can both be bad.
This doesn't cancel it out.
Yep. But I will say, it was a little much how much Megan. It's like it is true that Megan literally fell in love with said I love you to Haley and had sex with her. Like it is like it's like I feel like in Megan's mind it's like the Dana and Mel stuff happened first and then hers happened second, which like maybe is true, but they did both still happen. And like I do think like yes, Dana was more overtly disrespectful with like the public stuff and like the pool and the not looking at her. But I do feel like there was like Dana said, like, no wonder you hate me. You've been trying to hate me because you are, like were in this relationship with Haley. And I do think that was partially true. I have to say, I do think that was partially true.
I feel like my issue is it would have been different if Haley who are these people?
Yeah.
If Dana had been more upset at what happened, like she was
Yeah.
mad that Megan fell in love or mad that Megan had sex with Haley, not, oh, I'm mad at you for being mad at me because of what you did.
Yeah.
It just felt like
Yeah. But don't you think there's
misdirected.
anything to that? Don't you think there's something to her being that it's like kind of reasonable that she's mad that Megan was so mad at her when she did the exact same thing?
Yeah, because she immediately thinks it's hypocritical, right?
Right.
Right.
Without thinking, oh, both actions are bad.
Right.
Like
Well,
there's
and
a way to,
right.
yeah.
Well, and Megan was also acting like Megan was a saint and like Dana's
Right.
a villain. And it's like, okay, you don't feel like she was overtly disrespectful because she doesn't know any of this stuff, but now you're about to tell her this stuff that she's going to find disrespectful. Like,
Right.
you know,
And then, and then it is obviously Megan has this like complex that at least I'm being honest about it. You're still lying about stuff. But it's like Haley was honest and she isn't all self-righteous about it. Like
right.
Haley was honest and still respectful to Pilar. They're just like, yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I just feel gaslit. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So does Haley.
Yeah.
Exactly. So these two, they kind of go through it in terms of like, okay, now, like at first, Megan didn't want to give it a try, but now she does. And then it's just like, okay, now Megan's willing to try, but then, oh, what Dana needs is for her to talk to Haley. Hey, she needs her to create these boundaries with Haley. And I guess Haley is still in the way of their relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't like, I mean, it's very controlling and weird is like Dana's energy in general, but like
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah, it's so weird to just consume it because it's like, okay, is this just what works for Megan? Like, okay, if she's happy, not that it validates it in any way, but it's like, okay, everybody has their person.
But this is the only couple who, like, from a complete 100% outsider perspective, I didn't get their dynamic. I was
yes.
like I can see it on the
Mhm.
show. I can see the way that Megan acts around Dana. But I was like, everyone else, I can sort of picture in the wild their lives together, how they've been living. With the two of them, I'm just like, I don't even know. I
Yeah.
don't know what this is like every day.
Except that they are really fucking hot together. I will just say
Sure.
that.
Well,
And
yeah,
they
undeniably.
also, yes, the runner up for best reunion outfits, I'd say. They looked
Right.
awesome.
Oh my gosh, Megan's shirt. Yeah.
Megan. Mm, yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, "Get me one of those."
Yeah. No, I honestly think they both got like they just like yeah, there's no like collaboration. There's just kind of like you're bad and you're bad, like, and it's like who are we focusing on at the moment instead of like, wow, what does
Yes.
it mean about our relationship that we both had these we both there was never a calm like we
There was
both
no,
did
like,
these things.
introspection. It was yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't it just yeah.
Just very blame, blame,
Exactly.
blame. Who are we and like control,
Who can
control,
I be mad
control.
at right
Yeah.
now? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it felt toxic. And it just felt, I mean, hopefully they have like been working through their issues separately, like in a way that's way beyond what we've seen on the show.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like from the perspective that we had from watching the show, it just felt like they weren't in a position to be getting engaged, but then we got a double proposal from them.
I will bet $100 that they do not get married. Who's taking that bet? I'll
I
donate
can't
it.
take the
Right?
bet
I
because I
ge-
agree with you.
I
So,
agree. Yeah. How
Yeah.
does that work?
Shit. Yeah, true.
um,
Okay, if a
yeah.
listener out there wants to make the bet with me, hit me
And
up.
I feel the tiniest little bit, and look, again, they're real people. We've only seen a little bit. We could be wrong. I feel a tiniest little bit like they are sort of in this position of like, we got to get through this for the show and for the reunion, and then quietly break up later because we want to prove that we're actually fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like it's also tough because it's like, oh, it's been a year
Yeah.
and they're still together.
But now they're finally watching the show.
Yeah.
So
And nobody look, they
True.
got rings, but they don't have dates. None of these people.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay. So that is it for episode 7 through 9.
It honestly, by the way, just I can't believe they had them as the final couple, like in the ultimatums, as if like with like as if it's like a happy ending, right?
No.
Like it's like
Yeah,
no
they
one's happy about
sandwiched
that.
it.
Yeah, they did like
Yeah.
the weirdest editing. Like I would have expected. I feel like on Love Is Blind, they always take like the happy one of the really happy couples that everyone's rooting for, and that's the last thing normally,
Yeah, put
right?
AJ and Britney last or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. That would have been beautiful. I don't want to end on this note of like, yay, like swelling
Yeah,
music
It's like,
over this
yeah.
couple that you've made me hate. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Start or end with either AJ or Britney and Kyle and
yes,
Bridget.
Kyle and Bridget.
It's
Yeah,
just
Like,
do
yeah,
it.
no, you have effectively made me despise this couple.
yeah,
Yeah. There was like recently some of them were together, and it was like Dana and Megan, Mel and Ashley. They were all hanging out together. They did like a TikTok together.
Hmm.
It's like, okay.
Okay,
I
cool.
I feel like
Cool crew.
Right.
you know
Yeah.
at the reunion when they first walk out or then whatever they open up and you're like clocking who's sitting next to each other or whatever. I was the
Yeah.
most surprised to see that there were still a lot of people sitting next to each other.
I
I
know.
know.
Couple that weren't, but
Let's
yeah.
talk about it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the reunion.
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, when they had it was beautiful how they had the couples walk in together. And then when Marie walked out with not a single tooth showing, with
Yeah.
the meanest mug, I said, oh, she just finished watching all
Yeah,
9
right.
episodes.
Right.
Like she literally it like the credits rolled and she had to walk out on this stage because the anger and like that she had was so fresh.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
The
gosh.
matching outfits all across the board here, I'm really loving a lot of these.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks good.
No,
Yeah.
the fits were.
And how Kyle and Bridget swapped colors from their like first
Oh,
photo.
I didn't even notice that. That's
So
cute.
cute.
That's cute.
Oh.
That's cute.
Oh, that is cute. So we got into a lot in the reunion. It was hosted by Joanna Swisher Garcia or Garcia Swisher. They did shout her out at the end.
I know. I was like, are they listening to us? That and the montage of Kyle's mom. I was just like, come on.
Yeah. No, I literally think the end part was like, we've heard the feedback from the viewers that they don't like the host, but look, which like I do feel that it was sweet. It was like
sweet.
it was sweet how affected they all were by Joanna as a person. And I get that. And they could have a person like Joanna. Like I just think they could have a bridge person in a different way that was a better host of the television show. Like she's just not that good at being a host of the TV show. Like you could have, if you think it's important to have a straight person, there could be a straight person that's like interesting and dynamic and like doing something with the hosting. Like she's just, yeah.
Or have Joanna there as like the I'm like your mom to go
cool
to talk
ally
to kind of person, right? And
Yeah.
then have like also someone else.
Well, I mean, that's
Or
why
just
you have
put Kyle's mom on the show.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's not that anyone thinks that Joanna is a bad host. Like, obviously, she's done a fine job.
Except
She
for
did
Evvie.
I think she's bad. No. I think she's bland. I think she's just like nothing.
Okay.
Which is just like, why would you have a person be nothing? Like,
but I would rather someone be nothing than be other hosts of other shows that try to make it all about themselves.
That's true.
Yeah.
But maybe we could do better than nothing.
Yeah.
To me, it was giving like, I'm not saying that Joanna's a bad person, like,
Yes.
and like, or that she doesn't care about gay people or something. And like, they were all being very affirmative, like, she really cares about us, and that's nice.
We're like, that's great.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We totally can see that she's a great person.
No, you two don't like the fact that it was basically saying that it's really great that Mary's the host of this podcast because it's like super beneficial.
No, Mary, I think you have smart and interesting things to say. And I think that Joanna, mostly it's like fighting is happening. And she's like, well, I'm just really glad that everyone has feelings and is growing here. And yeah, thanks for, let's keep growing.
I feel like she talked more this season than last season, but it reminds me of this TikTok trend or this TikTok audio that's like, why would a man be there? Why would a man be there?
Yeah.
And it's like, not all men are awful, but still in some scenarios, you're like, why would a man be there? So anyway, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That and she even cried
Yeah.
because
It was
she's
sweet.
so touched.
If she's not back next season, which I feel like she might not be if there is another season, I'm happy that Netflix gave her this moment.
They gave her flowers.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So the first couple that they kind of caught up with was Britney and AJ, rightfully so. They're still good. There's nothing wrong there. Britney's learned work-life balance, and they had a very funny montage of AJ referring to herself as AJ.
Yeah. That was
Mhm.
so
Over
funny.
and over.
That was
AJ's
very
gonna
funny.
AJ.
AJ's gonna
Right.
AJ.
Right.
I do feel like the vibe was kind of like they're the prom king couple.
Yes.
We're like they're the best and most stable couple. So they're kind of also like in charge of the social dynamics of the group and like you want to
Right.
be in with them. Like I don't know. And I love it for them. They deserve it.
Right. It's kind of like one of those things where, okay, they are so neutral that if you're not even friends with AJ and Britney,
Right.
something's going on with you.
Speaking of which, so I was a little bit lost on exactly what Marie's issue with AJ was. It was she's like, we've not stayed close, and I think Britney was right when Britney was like, I think Marie is just taking a lot out on us that has
Yeah.
nothing to do with
No.
us.
I think Marie was just pissed as hell and was just like just pissed. And so just like anything you say to her, she's gonna bloop 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 back at you. Yeah, and like no, it was again, Britney so smart, so wise, always saying the right thing. Like that just was exactly the case. Marie was like jealous that Britney and Marita
Yes.
had a nice time together. Like
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
And the
she
thing
was
is,
like
Marie has a right to be upset. Don't get me wrong. Marie has every right to be upset.
at Mel.
Right, but not at AJ or Britney.
Right. Yeah,
Marie
it was
just
like I think her issue was she wanted more empathy about her situation, and she was so envious of the fact that AJ and Brittany had each other to lean on, even through the first trial marriages, because they never stopped seeing each other on the low. But it felt like there was no empathy about Mel's situation because she didn't have, I mean, Marie's situation because she didn't have Mel to lean on. So I don't know what was Marie was trying to say, but not say. But it was as if she was just kind of like, hey, it's unfair. And y'all should realize that.
It just was jealousy. Like if Mel had been wanting to talk to her, she would have loved to talk to Mel the whole time. Like that's just obviously true. So it's just like,
yeah, that's it. And so there's no wedding date yet for Britney and AJ. Then we got into Ashley and Marita, where Marie was still on one because I said Ashley and Marita, and then Marie was talking.
For some reason,
I don't even know. Like I guess Marie seems to be on Ashley's side, but I could not follow what happened between Ashley and Marita. Didn't sound good.
It just was like the bulk of it was that Marita's grandfather was dying, and she thinks in that time frame Ashley cheated on her. But in Ashley's mind, they never really got back together.
Right.
And so then Marie chimed in and was like, were y'all together? Were y'all even together at the time? And so now you got Marita over here thinking that there was no empathy for her when her grandfather was going through that. And then Ashley's like, well, my grandma is dying right now. And then that's when Marita said she didn't care.
Marita said, I don't care. And that was bad. Don't ever say that. You just don't need to say that.
That's when the entire cast was like,
no,
no, that's not what you say. But
I was honestly, it made me really sad to see the place that those two were in. Because
honestly,
it just should have been like, okay, we had this big problem. We never were able to resolve it. We should break up. And like, that's sad, but it's okay. But they kept trying. Yeah, it just got messy and so sad. I hated to see that.
Oof.
I hated to see that.
I know. It's just like, y'all got to a place that's just like very, very toxic. I thought it was interesting that I think it like I guess because they have a relationship, Mel went to comfort Ashley, and then Marie took that opportunity to still talk to Marita about how she felt that was wrong and that wasn't nice.
I think what's happening there is that Marie is as we saw very upset at AJ and Britney because of like the whole trial marriage, the thing we were just talking about. And so like, but Marita and Britney are obviously super close still. So
Yes.
therefore Marie's on Team Ashley. Like it's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
But Mel also seemed on Team Ashley, so I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that was just it just felt like this was further evidence of why these two are not for each other.
Right.
Because it's just
I hated that. That was
I know
awful.
it was like bringing out a side Marita that I'm sure she didn't want, like that, like I'm sure I don't know. It was
Yeah.
just because I even in the Britney and AJ segment, I loved how supportive Marita was of both of them, and it was just kind of like taking up for their relationship and taking up for AJ. But this was just a very ugly side.
Yeah.
Then we moved on to, I mean, it kind of ended on a nice note because Ashley did acknowledge that she felt like she lost her best friend. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
that was y'all's foundation. What
Yeah.
y'all got going on right now is not y'all.
Yeah.
Mel and Marie, they are not together. And it's funny because Joanna starts this like, oh, let's move on to Mel and Marie. Hey, Mel, can you update me? Then here comes Marie out of nowhere. Before we get into that, I have a question. Who made you the host?
Literally. Yep. Yep.
It's just I couldn't. I had enough of her at that point.
I feel like Marie kept thinking she had all these like Trump lines that were not good. Like, you know, like it's just like, okay, you figure like I don't know. Which is sad because I'm extremely empathetic to Marie about like she did get totally screwed in all these
Absolutely.
situations, but she didn't do herself any favors by being like so coming out so hot at the reunion.
It's and I hate to say this because again, if you're upset, you let it out however you want. This is I think she said somewhere like this is the reunion, this is what we're here to discuss, right? But like she would have definitely gotten more sympathy
Yes.
by exhibiting the same thing she had done the whole time, which is like, wow, look how embarrassed you made me and how like horrible this whole situation was for me. Um And instead it was like, "I don't like I don't like the way you're saying this right now, and I'm not on Mel's side, but it's making it hard to be on your side too."
Right. Right.
And just the way she was sitting in the chair, like, I
Oh,
don't
she was
know,
so mad.
Yeah.
upset. Everything was so upset, and I get it. Again, if I had watched that, I would have probably just not shown up to the reunion. I don't know how much they had to pay her to show up, but
Right.
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 That's how I'm like it had to be fresh because that type of anger would not
Mhm.
attend the reunion.
Right.
And what's surprising about all this is that they had broken up, like, months ago.
Yeah,
Right.
a couple of months after they got
Mhm.
engaged is when Marie broke up with Mel. And it just seemed like, I mean, they didn't expand on the reasons, but she was just like,
No.
she didn't want to be with her anymore. She was mad at Dana for getting the Brussels sprouts and asking
Oh
her how
my.
she felt about the Brussels
What
sprouts.
was I missed what was the Brussels
I
sprout
think
thing?
it seemed like Marie felt that she taught Mel how to make those Brussels sprouts. So
Yes.
that was extremely rude.
Okay.
That I think that was her
But,
point.
like, it was also there just seemed to be a lot of stuff where and I guess because she had just watched the show saying, like, "Why were you acting like I didn't know you couldn't have kids? Why were you acting like I didn't know about your medical conditions? I've known you forever." Like,
Right.
And
and so
Right.
I think a
that would
lot of
have
it was
been
just
that would have
Mel.
been better of her to say medical conditions. She actually named it, which we had not known. They did
Right.
not
Yeah.
once say during the show what Mel had.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so she
Yeah.
literally pointed out twice. So I was just like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
don't think we should know that."
Yeah.
It's like,
I
that's
also
not yeah.
yeah. I just in general, I'm like, I do feel like yeah, it just is one thing to know that your partner can't have kids because you Googled her medical condition. And it's
Yeah.
another thing to have actually like talked about it. And like if you guys haven't actually talked about that, like she
Right.
should like I do feel that like I think and we didn't talk about it so much in the other episodes, but I do feel like there was evidence of yeah, Marie hears the words that Mel is saying, but isn't necessarily responding like with the empathy. She's kind of is responding with like the fix it energy. And it's very
Yeah.
like fix it energy to be like, I Googled it and I know that, but like that we haven't actually talked about that. I don't know. It's just like, again, it's just she was so sympathetic in what was happening to her. And I just, yeah, throwing that out was rough. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
Again,
my
yeah, it's
god.
just I feel like it's just always more gonna come off better in those situations to be like, I feel so hurt that you said that you were telling that to Dana for the first time, because I've known you for 10 years or whatever it is. And like,
Right.
I've known that all along, and I love you anyway. And I wanted to have kids with you anyway. And like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
She is a
And we're all
scorned woman.
and as fans of Survivor and social strategy games and stuff, I feel like a lot of times I have this like I come at this from like, what is the strategically best thing for
yes,
you to have done to have gained sympathy, and not coming at it from the perspective of I'm a human who's just found out some information that has hurt me. I'm going to
yes,
not necessarily react in the best way, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I did really appreciate Mel for being honest when we get into the whole thing of like, did they have sex?
Yeah.
Like I actually really, that was actually, I will say, first of all, kudos to Joanna for not like I feel like at first, like Dana kind of tried to be
She
like,
was trying to
yeah,
dismiss
which
it.
is also legit to be like, I don't need us to get into the specifics of what fingers went where. You know what I mean? But like Dana tried to like brush it off, and then Joanna went back to like, okay, did you feel that you were lying in that moment, Mel? Which was a great host redirect question. I will give
Yes.
Joanna that
Yes.
question. And I did really appreciate that Mel was like, yes, I did.
Yes.
I do feel that I was being on a technical loophole, and I do feel that we were intimate, and like whether or not it was like literally sex by my definition.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and props to the show for getting into the definition of sex.
Yes.
Another thing in which they were just listening to our podcast. Didn't we
Yes.
talk about that last time? I was like, there's so many things that are queer sex. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
I love that.
I did love that. I feel like the Dana and Mel responses to this whole thing though. Dana saying, why does it have to be any of their business? What did or did not happen? It's like, well, because it's been a conversation on the show,
Right.
and other people here might feel one way or the other based on like whether or not that happened. That may change how, I don't know, how Pilar feels about her relationship with Haley based on what these, who knows, right? And like, yeah, you don't need to explicitly lay it out, but just denying and saying
Right.
that you did nothing but kiss when that's just not true.
Right.
And then for Mel, I did feel like Mel was like kind of looking around being like, what's Dana gonna say? What am I gonna allowed to say? I don't know. But you're right, we got there in the end. So
Yeah. They did get a little. I think the only other thing we learned about that Spotify situation was that we did see Mel tell Ashley on a date that a sex playlist is her thing.
Uh-huh.
So it's like not out, that's like in her alley. So it makes sense. So anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I think with them two, that was pretty much it. They don't really have anything else to say to each other.
No.
They didn't really have a good reason explaining the tattoo. Dana was just
except
like, well, we
except like
knew.
Mel said, the most irresponsible sides of ourselves.
Yeah,
like we're
exactly.
hyping each
Which
other
was-
up.
Which was also very honest that I liked, and
Yeah.
was so true. Like,
Very true.
and
Yeah.
so toxic.
Right. Because I think at this point, Mel has no reason to lie.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like you're not with her. You don't have a chance at being with Dana. It's like might as well be honest.
Right.
Then they moved on to all the fur babies that are involved. Lots of dogs, lots of cats.
I'm sorry.
And some bunnies.
Since when did Britney have a bunny? And why did we not see
I
any
said
of
that
it this whole
too.
time?
I said no, the bunny was I've seen the bunny.
Oh, they
What?
showed us that before?
Yeah,
I
they showed
missed
the bunny. Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Would have
So
loved
I was
some
like,
more
wait,
bunny
how is
content.
this bunny interacting with the dog? AJ's dog.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Cute
I
little
will
bunny.
say, I think AJ maybe wins best line of the show. The number one rule of gay relationships is pussy always wins. And that was great. Which was a reference to a cat. So I'm allowed to say it on the podcast.
A cat, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see. Oh, we touched in on Kyle and Bridget said that she's pregnant. She was like, just kidding,
Joking.
can't afford
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was also very funny.
And also
Yeah.
can't afford that. Great line.
Great
hinting
response.
The truth of how
Yes.
hard it is to get pregnant as a queer
Yes.
couple. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got the they're great. They're doing just fine. We did see Haley's mom or Kyle's mom, and she said, from Wicked, because I know you, I have been changed for good. And I was thinking in that moment, I don't know that. And then my girlfriend was like, that's going to be on part
It's
two.
part two.
The second one.
Exactly.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, they bringing her back, Mary, they're listening to you. They know we need more Kyle's mom.
I mean,
She was great.
I legitimately, I thought we were alone, and because a lot of times we are alone in thinking, like, the fans are like, wow, these siblings, these parents, these friends, like, show more of them, and they knew it this time that we played this game. We know we have gold here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I can't wait for her to host season 3.
Yeah.
Please. With Haley's dad.
Yeah. I think that'd
Yes,
be cute.
the 2
Very
of them,
sweet.
so cute.
Yeah.
Love it.
And so we checked in with Haley and Pilar. Haley did propose like
Mhm.
less than a month later, and
I need
that's
to look up this picture.
yeah, it's not the first picture on whatever that is. I think it's Instagram actually. It's not the first picture. I think it's the last picture. And I think it's on Haley's Instagram,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. Pilar did tell her family, which was a huge, plot line of this season was just, how Pilar's family was about all this. So that's a lot of growth.
Yeah. And I thought her overall arc of just like, I thought that was a really nice message of like, sometimes your family, you're not going to get the thing that you really want. You're
Mhm.
not going to
Yeah.
get the big, tearful, we're so sorry. We're now huge allies and we support you. And she just has to move on with her life anyway. And like,
Yeah.
I just do think that was a nice journey and a good character arc, and I think it was nice that they showed that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they are, there was like a moment where, yeah, I think there was a moment that Kyle was, well, that's bad. That wasn't Kyle and Bridget's segment, but there was a moment when Kyle was crying, thinking about how, like, it was more about the conflict resolution of it all, and Pilar was helpful through that. I also wanted to point out that when Kyle and Bridget got engaged, Bridget had pointed out that Kyle really liked fiance because it's like a very neutral partner
Yes.
term. Yeah, I
Yes.
was like, I was
Yeah.
like,
But what about partner?
right.
Also,
That's what I was thinking. I was
that,
like, partner's right there.
Yeah. But that was cute anyway.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was cute.
No.
But yeah, Haley and Pilar, they are good. I feel like we got so much of them through 7 through 9 that it was just like it made sense why they're such a solid place at the reunion.
Yeah.
Apparently, Pilar is a DJ. I saw that on TikTok.
Yes, I also saw that.
Oh my God.
I was like, okay, Pilar. And then last is Dana and Megan. So we look back at, why do we look back at their relationship and not anyone else's?
Because for some reason the show wants us to root for them now, even though they made us hate them. Like
they're like, they're not that bad, guys. They're still together. They're kind of cute.
Yeah.
But
it was cool. I liked the thing that Megan was saying about like, if you are not being like, if you're not showing up 10 toes, like people aren't gonna respect that in that same way. And I really did think that was nice about like, if she sheepishly is like, oh, I've got this relationship, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Versus like, this is my person, even if I disagree whether that should be her person. Like I did appreciate that's like, that's good advice. I like that. I actually been thinking about that today. Like like I took that lesson from Megan.
Wow, like, from Megan.
I do. I'm like, if you want people to take your thing seriously, you have an element of like, are you presenting it in that way? And I did like that. I did like that.
Yeah. Megan did take Dana home for Thanksgiving. So it's like there's progress being made with her family. And so Megan did point out she did wish that her and Haley hadn't gotten physical because she really does think that they could have been good friends, which is valid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like they're so similar.
Yeah, but then there's other things that they could have done to still be friends. It actually, like, maybe that became the barrier with maybe for Dana to be comfortable with it. But it's just like, they could have been friends if she wasn't like,
if they all had just admitted to their mistakes and moved on.
Yeah. Exactly.
I did
think it was so funny that they were like, it sucks because we've made so much progress with my family, but we thought that quote, you go on the show and it could show them that you can be gay and be normal. And so they decided to go on the queer ultimatum. Like, those two.
This is not the way.
The decisions,
The one thing we didn't mention, what would Haley have done if Megan had broken up with Dana and not necessarily even proposed, but like the door was closed so quickly that I don't even know what would have happened.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like because the door closed quickly, she was able to go all in on Pilar and realize that's where her heart was. And she called out that she noticed changes in Pilar. But would she have had the space to see that if Dana was still there? I
Like,
mean,
I think
Megan.
probably realistically, most likely, it's just none of the 4 of them would have gotten engaged, and then
Yeah.
probably after the show, I don't know. I mean, having especially just done a little Instagram deep dive, I like Pilar and Haley, so I just feel like I wanted them to end up together now, but, I would have been curious to know what would have happened.
Yeah. I know. I think the outcome of like yeah, of Pilar making those changes, and then like I just feel that Haley was being respectful towards Pilar the whole time, and I think that probably the framing was more like, how can we stay together and what can we take from
Mhm.
this? Either way, I would hope, but there's no way to know, and I'm sure that haunts Pilar every day.
Right. I mean, yeah. I feel I don't know. Yes, I hate that has to be a what if
Yeah,
because it wasn't Haley's call,
yeah,
but whatever.
yeah.
And if your bet is like comes true, then is that a concern now for
Oh,
like for
no.
Pilar?
I love what Haley said to Megan in the ultimatum day of like, I would never have someone in my life that's treated me the way that you've treated me. And
Yes.
I just think that that's not going away. Like if
Yeah.
Megan and Dana break up, I do not think that Haley and Megan are restarting.
Yeah, Haley has
Yeah.
way too much. Like Haley sees her worth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. And then they had such exciting news at the end that the ultimatum choices is out.
My God.
I didn't know what the announcement was gonna be. I just figured another season of straight ultimatum, but
Yeah,
I
I
did
was thinking,
too.
or they were gonna, or Queer got renewed for season 3, like that.
Yes.
that would've
Like
been nice too.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, are you guys gonna play? I mean,
No.
no, no.
Oh.
What?
I might try it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we have to. We obviously
I'll
have
try
to.
anything once.
Just for the
Um,
bit.
Yeah. Do
Is
you
it
think
like?
we've mentioned it before, do you think we're ever gonna get Queer Ultimatum Oops All Men or no?
Yeah, I just feel like it's right there. Why not try it? You know, like
Right.
I mean, I would be interested in it. Like I do think that lesbians have a particular thing going on where we are
With
more
commitment.
prone to U-Haul with a rando. You know, that just is in the culture. But I mean, gay men so messy. Let's see it. Like, why not? You know,
And
I
I
don't
think
know.
it actually okay, I don't know how to say this. I think it would be a good opportunity because even though things have progressed so much in great ways in the media, I think it's still a lot of shows, especially reality shows, still stick to a very specific stereotype when it comes to gay men, and it would be an interesting way to show a wider variety of gay
Yeah.
men.
Yeah, I agree. And like committed couples and like
Mhm.
people that want to get married but also are a little
Yeah.
messy. Like, yeah, why
Yeah,
not? Why not? You know? Yeah.
We'd love
it
to
would be
see it.
interesting.
Yeah.
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 We'd watch.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
That's 3 people right there. So.
Yeah. Yeah. We'd be here for it.
Oh, why do they need the millions? All right. This was so fun. What
It
a
was
great
great.
season.
Had a great time.
Yeah.
It
Just
gave me
like,
what it needed to give.
why are there not more lesbian dating shows? I feel like that's my question. It's like this I feel like is such a hit. And maybe I mean I'm in such a bubble where I'm just like, isn't this the number one show on TV right now? Because it's definitely the number one show in my friends. Like,
let me shout one out for you that you may
yeah.
it's YouTube, but
Okay.
it's not Netflix, but there's a couple that I am familiar with because they're in Houston, so I see a lot of their stuff on like TikTok and stuff. But they came up with their own version of like Pop the Balloon, but it's like lesbian version.
Ooh.
And then now they're doing like a new dating show. It's like matchmaking with AI. So same concept. They're just getting people and they're just getting women in Houston and filming it. And it's, I mean, not the level of drama that we see on Ultimatum Queer Love, but it's interesting to say the least. But if y'all, I shout that out. It's called Lesbian Land on YouTube.
I just think every time they do one of these, it works. The Are You the One all queer season worked.
Worked, yeah.
This worked consistently 2 in a row. Like,
I mean, the
just
amount of people I hear that, because obviously this was way before we were all podcasting, but A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila, the amount of people I know that watched that, it was
Yep.
like insane. So it's right there.
it's right
It's
there.
just like the media doesn't think we're ready for it, but we're ready.
We're ready. We're ready.
Yeah. So thank y'all so much for listening to us. We had so much fun covering this. Please leave your thoughts in the comments on YouTube. All right, Evvie, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Evvie Jag and on TikTok with the account name Evvie from Survivor. And please, if you're listening to this, please listen to our season of The Pride Is Spoken that just wrapped. We interviewed Aysha and Teeny and Andy and Katora and Sabaya and then Parvati. It was an amazing season. You can check that all out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts.
Love it. What about you, Mary?
You can follow me everywhere at Frail Mary from Survivor. Just kidding, not from Survivor, just from here. And yeah, check out everything that I'm doing, covering other shows. And Big Brother season's coming up, so I'll be checking into that nonsense pretty darn soon. Aysha, where can everyone follow you?
Yeah, y'all can follow me on all social media at Aysha like Aysha. That's AYSHA like ASIA. You can also find me at patreon.com/A Perfect Match podcast. Jason Reed and I are talking about the show Married at First Sight over on our Patreon. We're still covering the proper seasons on RHAP, but this is just a space for us to give you all the bonus content that your little hearts desire. So we're having a great time over there. And then, yeah, Big Brother 27 is starting soon. So I'll definitely be contributing to the podcasting there on RHAP. So thank y'all so much for listening to us. And we are so happy that y'all joined us for this ride. And hopefully we'll see you for the next Ultimatum Queer Love. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.